Attention, bobsled riders! You will soon be embarking on a thrilling podcast down the icy slopes of the Matterhorn. So please remain seated, keeping your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the bobsled at all times. Auf Wiedersehen!
Hello, Yodelers. We are the Matterhorn Yodelers. I am your host today, Jackie, and we have...
Jivith.
And...
I didn't think about this one.
Still sniffling from the last podcast?
Yeah, I'm still sniffling from the last podcast. I'm still sadness right now. Let's see here. Let's go with, Damage Control.
Damage
Control. Okay.
Damage Control's here.
Today we're going to be talking about a recent series on Disney Plus, which is Ms. Marvel.
Yes.
Which I think this was kind of a hidden surprise.
Dark Horse, out of nowhere.
Of like how good the series is.
It's always one of those things, when you get those teenager stories, it's either going to be really good or it's going to be really bad.
Yeah.
It's either a hit or miss, usually, when it comes to, like, a teenager story. Because they usually hit the nail on the head, or they're way off the mark and it's super exaggerated.
Yeah. So before we get into any spoilers, because there will be spoilers, I think we probably all agree, go watch the series.
Yes, it's a win.
It's definitely in the top, like, third of the TV shows I've watched with Marvel.
Yeah. It may be, like, hard at first for you to get into it or, like, just to start watching the first episode, but I promise you, once you start watching it, I think you'll enjoy it.
Yeah, they did a good job.
The stylistic and...
Execution.
Yes.
Execution. The history they share is, like, I learned some things watching it, and it's...
Because all you get in, like, a history book is, like, India and Pakistan separated. Like,
yeah, and that's it. But, like, here...
No emotion, one line.
Right. But here you actually see that
it brings
happen.
a lot of history into it. This movie, or the series, also helps link other recent Marvel movies. And it gives you a little bit more meaning. I watched some videos about it, and I'll go more details with the spoilers. But it's kind of interesting and kind of, I think, this series helps us prepare us for the big Avenger movies that will be coming out.
Gods versus humans.
Well, I mean, yeah, they just announced the Marvel lineup.
Yes.
They just had their San Diego Comic-Con, so yeah. So we'll see.
We're going into fifth phase.
Yeah.
Yeah, they went and showed the fifth phase lineup, which Kevin Feige said that they're going to announce even more at D23. So, and what they announced at San Diego Comic-Con was quite a bit.
Yeah.
I would say, like, they released a lot.
There was a lot of information that they showed.
They've usually been quite reserved with, like, what they release.
I thought Marvel was going to go on the downhill after Infinity Wars, but it's coming hard.
Well, again, we're at a rebuild.
Yeah.
We're at a rebuild phase with Marvel. And so...
When we first watched the beginning Marvel movies, we weren't watching it going like, where's this going? You're like, oh, Iron Man's fun, and like Captain America. Like, there was no
it was so much simpler.
Yeah, and then they're like, here's a stone. You're like, whatever. I don't know what that's for. And now we've had this epic, like, Infinity War.
Yeah.
And then we're like, what do you do now? Like, that was amazing. And now people are gone. And, like...
Now we're going into the multiverse.
And it's fun. I think the multiverse is confusing. But it's fun. And I think this one kind of brings in that kind of multiverse where...
A little bit.
Like, oh, there's something on the other side.
Yeah.
Right.
And the upside
and
down.
This show actually made me want to go back and watch other Marvel movies that I only saw like once.
Yes.
And I was all like, oh, I've only really watched this once. Let me go back and watch this.
Which one was that?
Shang-Chi.
Yeah, I just watched that one recently.
There's a big connection with it.
There's a connection with it.
Didn't they have like a graffiti that showed the rings?
Yeah, we can get more into that. So, you've been warned. This is where spoilers are happening.
We gave you a few weeks to watch it, okay, guys?
Yeah.
If you haven't watched it yet, go and watch it.
Yeah. And then come back, listen, and, comment on our page about your thoughts on it. But, alright, let's get into it. So, we first get introduced. Let's just talk about,
The main character,
yeah,
Kamala.
Kamala. Before she's Miss Marvel, she's just a teenage girl, and I thought they cast her perfectly.
She was great.
So they made
She's definitely the highlight of the entire series,
made-
which is
I
good.
never doubted. I never doubted
You
it.
want your main character to be the star of the show, and she was.
They made on Disney Plus. They made like a 1 hour special thing of a making of Miss Marvel.
What the history of it?
It's like a fan,
just like a fan, just like
Oh,
Help her,
I found it.
you
Oh yeah,
know.
yeah.
I really enjoyed it because you got to know the actor of Kamala. Yes,
Yeah, Kamala Khan.
Kamala Khan, and like the actor that actually plays her, she is a huge fan, like nerd comic book person.
She's an Iron Man fan.
She's an Iron Man fan, but like she loved Miss Marvel comics, so like it's awesome to see like a super like fan.
she wasn't a fan of like Miss Marvel or Captain Marvel movie.
Well, it was my understanding that like during the filming of the show, she kept throwing like Iron Man references, and like Kevin Feige had to tell her to stop. It's like you're more of a Miss Marvel fan. Your character's a Miss Marvel. Not Miss Marvel. Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel fan. And she's okay. All right. So there was a lot of scenes.
All right,
write
the
fine.
paycheck.
Yeah, it was like Spider-Man and Iron Man was a thing. He's like, you
You
and
two need to be a thing, but I don't want to be.
Yeah.
I don't want to be friends with her. A lot of people don't apparently.
Yeah. But I thought they cast her so well.
Yes.
Well, it's funny though because, and this isn't really about the show, but this is about the new cruise line. They have a little Marvel, like dinner show, whatever,
dining.
which involves a lot of the different Marvel characters, and they, some of the people reviewing goes, you can tell which Marvel actors called it in and which ones were actually trying, and she's in the dinner show, and they say she tried. You could tell she's like in it.
Yeah.
Compared to like, you got the new Captain America, he was a little stiff, and same with Captain Marvel, she was a little stiff. In it. So like you could tell like as an actress, like she's in this role, like she wants to do this.
Yeah.
And I get very similar vibes to like Kate Bishop from Hawkeye. Like that sort of personality. Which, obviously we'll probably get a movie with them together, and they're just going to be goofy girls.
That will be
That
fun.
would be fun.
Or they'll hate each other.
Or they'll hate... No.
What-
Kamala's such a kind person.
That's
She's not...
true.
Like, even her, like, quote-unquote rival, she's still, like,
Yeah.
friendly with.
Well, and it's great because her character herself, she's a super confident teenager.
Yes.
Super talented. Like, she has a YouTube page and, like...
You see the quality she puts in?
The quality that she puts out on that YouTube page, I was like, she would be, like, 1 million plus subscribers.
I related to her because, like, you watch the video and you see the quality, like, man, she's doing all this work, and then you see how many views how many subscribers she has. She's got like 4. And I go, I relate to that.
I think everybody
relate to
that's
that.
like, I'm gonna be a YouTube star, and you're like, well,
Good luck.
yeah, it's reality hits.
Yeah, so she's, like, a super fan, talented, like, artist, or I would say.
She has an imagination.
Yes, and that's the big thing is, like, she's, like, stuck in a different world, in, like, dreamland almost. And this series is transitioning her from dreamland into kind of reality, but with, like...
You stumble upon powers.
Yeah.
I just saw a lot of parallels with Spider-Man.
Yes.
With Kamala and her story. Very, very similar with, like, I'm a nobody in high school, and then, like, boom.
But
I get that confidence.
I like the way they did this better than Spider-Man.
Yeah,
I think
agree.
out of the children's story arcs, hers is so far the best one of the series.
I think it's because, for me, as you say that, I think it's her family
Yeah.
really, like, nails
Well, the
it.
fact that she actually has her family.
Yeah.
It was great.
I think that's
that's a
nails it.
different take.
It's refreshing where it's like the superhero has a strong family and a strong, like, culture and a strong support. Unlike other superheroes, you're like, their families are broken.
Well, Black Widow is all like, it's all a lie! You're just Richard Spice!
Right.
Like, I don't know any other, like, superheroes that have such a strong family.
They have that support system.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say Thor. That one's pretty messed up.
Yeah.
No.
My brother keeps trying to kill me. So, it's... I feel like this...
Maybe Hawkeye.
Yeah.
He's the closest we get to, like, a solid, like, family.
Yeah.
That's true. But I think this series is like a breath of fresh air when it comes to Marvel series.
I think so. I think it was like we got to take a minor break away from this like complicated story arc with the multiverse.
Yes.
So
It was needed. I think it needed to re-energize.
right.
Because you're bringing in such a complicated concept.
Right.
Yeah. It mentions that I love that like Ant-Man Scott Lang has a podcast.
Yep.
And that's how
I want to listen to that.
I
Is
know.
it real?
Which apparently that's actually going to tie into the next Ant-Man movie. They
Yeah.
kind of gave a brief idea of like the setup to the next Ant-Man and Wasp movie, and that's part of it is that he's become super famous after the events of Endgame, and you know the people in his life have been pushed away because of it, or they walked away from him because of his celebrity.
And I mean, that's the reason, because I was watching, I was like, how does she know what happened in Infinity Wars? It's not like they had a drone going around
True.
filming it, and it's because of Scott Lang's podcasts. But, I mean, we saw the after effects of Infinity Wars. These superheroes were not rich.
No, yeah, you're seeing there's no payment, and I could see where like Scott goes and like I need to make money.
He's I gotta make money for my family. What can I do? I'm Avengers.
Yeah,
so.
I'm a felon.
Right.
I'm still a felon. You can save the world, but no one will hire you.
So, like, that's such, like, a fun little, like,
I didn't pick up on that.
point in it.
That's cool. Thank you.
Yeah. So, okay. So then Miss Marvel, she gets, you get a little background. She's got
two friends.
She's got two really close
She's
friends.
got Bruno.
Whoa, we don't talk about Bruno.
I know. It's like, what is up with Bruno, the name? Like,
We
who
don't
was-
date no Bruno, no.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, who is Bruno? Like, Luca, Bruno,
Yeah.
like, Encanto, Bruno. This, I was like, what is up with the name Bruno? I'm just waiting for, like,
Well, I
the
think
Bruno theory to
Yeah,
come
where's
through.
the Bruno
like-
Well,
theory.
Bruno is actually a comic book character that existed
Yes.
before this whole Bruno phase, but yeah,
It's just kind of funny.
how it's timed out this way. We're getting a bunch of where you never heard the name Bruno before, and now all of a sudden it's like
I actually
in
know
every
somebody
movie.
named Bruno, so it was all like, I just want to know, like, what is going on with this name in Disney where they're going to keep dropping it in
We're
there?
gonna go through this phase where like all the children, like half the children, are being called Bruno.
No, I don't think so.
No way.
You think
It's not
Bruno's
like
got
Dylan from, like,
Bruno's
90210.
ruined because we don't talk about Bruno.
Yeah, that kid's got to, like, there's no Alejandro, because Lady Gaga.
Right.
Every time a kid, like, has that name, they're like, Alejandro, like, I hate you. Like, kid learns how to fight.
Yep, so we have the friend Bruno and then
Nakia.
which Bruno is like the typical tech friend.
He's
He's the guy in the chair.
Yeah,
from
basically.
He's-
Kim Possible, where he's got his
Yeah,
computer.
he's Wade. He's
Yeah.
what's his name from Spider-Man.
Yeah.
he's that
He's
guy.
it's that typical I was like tech guy. He's cool, he's in love with the main character, like
He doesn't say it, but it's evident.
I can't go to Caltech because I'm in love with everyone. Like, all adults are like, go to Caltech.
I know.
Young love, that's stupid. You don't know what you're doing.
You'll get her later.
I love her! No,
Yo,
go to Caltech. This is way better, I'm telling you. Just like, no. It's too comic. Don't do it. Don't throw away your. I think that's what every parent was thinking. All teachers were like, it's beautiful. He's gonna sacrifice it all. It's like, you idiot.
No, don't give up Caltech. It's a good school.
You got Nakia, which I feel like she's a really cool character because, like, she's very much focused on her religion
Yeah.
and her beliefs and her faith, and she was running for
Council.
Council.
To be on the council, yeah.
just to make it better situation for the women.
I think she really grounds Kamala. Like,
Yes.
she is a
Yes.
I'll say woman. She's a woman of the world,
Yeah.
but Nakia pulls her back and grounds her in Islam,
Right.
in her tradition,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, she's a great friend.
Yes.
Yeah.
And not that she's doing it on purpose; she's just being her friend.
Yeah.
And it really she is the bridge between two worlds.
Right.
Yeah. Like, she doesn't get a ton of, like, focus or, like, character
Her
development.
storyline
but, like, her-
is not really that important.
Yeah.
But her character is important to Kamala.
Kamala's.
I think you're nailing it. Yeah.
Like, I don't care that she's running for council in the mosque. Like, I'm
think
not,
it's
I'm not,
cool.
I'm not watching for that story
No.
arc to
No.
get completed. Did she get in?
But it
Did
doesn't.
she get it?
But it doesn't annoy you.
No,
No.
it doesn't. No.
So they did a good job.
Yeah.
Correct.
And then we've got,
Kind of the parents involved.
yeah, absolutely. I love the dad.
He's the cool
The
dad.
dad is exactly. I have in my notes. He's the cool dad, and the mom is like the enforcer.
Oh yeah, protective mom. And she mentions at the end, "I'm not ready to let go," and you're like, "Yep."
Well, I love. Well, they had like a mirror moment at the beginning where like, where Kamala's all like, "Do you trust me?" And the dad's like, "Yes," and the mom's like, "No." And then at the end they swap it where the mom said yes and he said no, and so they had a kind of a mirror moment.
Yeah.
I love the scene where like she's trying to go to Avenger Con,
Yeah.
and like the mom's like, "No, you're not going to the city," and like, "No, you're not doing that." But then they're like, "Okay, we'll work with you, but you're going to go with your father as." The whole
Oh, it was
and
such a sweet
I
moment.
loved it. He was so excited to go, and just like, you know, she had a typical teenager reaction.
Just poo-poos on a beautiful parrot.
You look at that
moment.
costume. That
was
costume looked
awesome.
awesome. I'd be like, heck yeah, I'll wear that costume.
Yeah,
They tried to extend an olive branch.
Yeah.
And
I love it. How it's just like, there is no girl Hulk, which
it was kind of alluding
Yeah.
towards
wink, wink, set up for She-Hulk, which is happening
soon.
a couple weeks.
Probably
It's
by the time this episode
Yeah.
comes out,
Yeah.
it'll be either out or about to come out. So.
Oh yeah. We're talking about the future.
Yes.
We are in the future right now.
Yes. We just recorded the really sad podcast, so we're still.
Yeah, I still have a runny nose from that.
But her mom is very much more into like traditions, her
Yes.
family, like remembering her family and stuff.
Sort of. I mean, like, she also has, like, issues with her mom.
She just
Or grandma.
No,
her
it's her
mother.
mom.
It's
Oh.
because her mother. Because when they went to
Her grandma was the one with the.
Well, I guess she's got issues
the
with
story.
both.
it's the magic aspect.
Yes.
It made her a little crazy, and so she kind of like, I'm gonna be more grounded. And be more like secular, and like my thought of how life goes, and as Islamic.
Who else got the vibe that the mom knew more than she was letting on? When the bracelet was first revealed, she immediately reacted to that. Go put that in the garage. Go put that in the attic. Like,
Absolutely.
She
I
had
think
she had a physical reaction
Well-
to seeing Kamala with that bracelet.
Yeah.
She's like, no, don't touch that.
Just with like the reaction of, I'm sure that bracelet had been in her family for some time and probably caused like conflict.
You nailed it. I agree. It's that magic aspect. Like the mother's like, this is my mother, like with the stars leading me, and like I think that was the like only thing of her mother. Didn't even have a picture,
Yeah.
and so I think that's why she just had that reaction. I think you nailed it.
Yeah. And I think it kind of explains in the future how she's so accepting to Kamala.
Mm-hmm.
So then so Kamala goes to, Avenger Cons. she gets the bracelet and puts it on because it connects her to.
It's her flair.
It's her flair. It makes her a
Connects
little
to
more
her-
heritage.
yeah,
roots. Yeah.
It's you make modifications to your own cosplay to make it unique. Who doesn't love seeing Snow White Mandalorian?
It's pretty great.
I loved. I remember when we went to the Comic-Con. It was steampunk Boba Fett.
Yeah.
I remember I followed him on Facebook before I got rid of it, and then to walk by him, I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's the guy on my Facebook! He's real!" And I took a picture, and I was way more excited to see him.
Right.
And he was totally cool, but I think that's what she was trying to do in that moment. I thought of steampunk Boba Fett at that moment.
Right.
She puts on the bracelet, which causes her to get basically her powers.
Which is a different take from the comic books, from my understanding.
Yes, it's very different because she
So they made her what's it called? Callus. I forgot what it's called, but she's from her ancestry comes from a different dimension.
The clandestines.
That's it.
They're They're the Jinn, the Shadow Walkers
Right,
from the other
but
world.
I think in the comic books she's an Inhuman character her powers are normally activated by the Terrigen crystals, which if you don't know what that is, you can try watching the Inhumans TV show that they came out with 10 years ago, which wasn't very good, which kind of goes into more detail about that. But I kind of like the take that they did. I kind of like the direction they took it. So
yeah.
Kind of like with the rings, where there's power that comes from,
right,
and it comes within. It's
kind of hard to explain her powers, but I watched someone who kind of explained it, and it's basically hard light. That's her power.
hard light.
Hard light. So
a physical manifestation of light, in the sense of just
controlling. Yeah.
She's pulling it from
a solid state of light.
Yes.
She's pulling it from the dimension that
is
the clandestine dimension.
Oh, okay.
So that's the connection. That's why she's able to open the portal, is because she has a device that literally connects the two universes.
You know what
together.
helps watching this TV show? Watching Stranger Things.
Yes, it did. Absolutely did.
The upside down,
Yes.
it's
totally did.
They both affect each other, and one pulls from the other, and it can affect the other.
It gets into I'll get into that a little bit later. But let's go in a little bit more detail of the bangle, because the bangle is found in a ancient tomb. And in that tomb, so there was you have Najma, I think that's her name.
What I wrote it down. Najm.
Najm. Najma. Yeah.
Najm. Najam.
I said her and her crew, because you really don't get to know
right.
the other people in
Which
her
is
crew.
fine.
Yeah. But basically,
red shirts.
They were banished on Earth for some reason, and they were trying to go back, and so they're going in this.
I thought they came back because they're trying to save their world.
No, from my understanding, they were banished.
They were banished.
They were banished? Okay, because
That
I
was
thought
my
they came over because their world was dying and they needed to find a way to save their world, and that's why they were there.
I could be wrong, but my understanding from, I think Bruno was giving the backstory behind the clandestines, and that they were banished.
Yeah.
I don't think they actually they might be sharing their perspective.
I think that's what their perspective was. We're trying to save our world,
Yeah.
and that may have caused a banishment because it's kind of you're being kind of kooky,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
right.
they were somewhat banished. They're trying to get
home,
and they needed the bangle to do that. There are two.
Yes, there's two bangles.
One was missing, and in the tomb you see the 10 rings from Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
Which just shows.
Is that the other bangle?
Possibly.
Well, there's probably a connection between the two, because
it's the same technology.
Or magic, or however you want to call it.
Magic, or from
because at the end of Shang-Chi, they talk about how there's this hidden signal inside of the rings, and it's calling out to something, and so like there's a possible connection with Shang-Chi and Miss Marvel here
That
that
would
we'll
be
probably get.
I want that. I like
Yeah.
Shang-Chi, and it's just like, I think it would be really cool to bring him into this universe,
Into this storyline.
Yeah.
better, because I think Miss Marvel is doing a better job at getting the story
in there. Yeah.
And I think we're getting to a point where things are starting to connect
Connect
us.
a
The
little
strings are being connected
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Without having like Doctor Strange's people like do
Oh my
portals
gosh.
and they come in and out of these things like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, it's connected. There it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and it kind of gets into, so you've got the multiverse, but then you also have realms. And it kind of goes into realms a little bit.
Yes.
And my understanding of realms was like in Black Panther, where you have like the tree.
And when you drink the stuff and you go to another realm.
Yeah, that's a realm.
Where in Moon Knight,
Moon Knight.
when they were on the boat.
on the boat. Shang-Chi, where they're in the little foresty area.
And then we have the Quantum Realm from
The
Ant-Man.
quantum realm. So it kind of goes in a little bit more detail of like the difference, that there's a difference between a multiverse and a realm.
Okay.
Right.
I didn't pick up on that.
They kind of briefly talk about that with in Endgame with Ant-Man, how he was not in the world, he was in a different realm. And therefore wasn't affected by the snap.
Okay.
And that's how they're able to time travel, is through realms.
Which I think is just going to be, the realm portion is such a bigger part in the overall story.
Yeah, it's the place in between.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's where we're getting
It's a safe place. It's like
King's.
Kang's storyline comes
Yeah.
from the quantum realm. So we'll get more about that in the Ant-Man movie next year.
Yeah. There was some hints of maybe Kamala, like Heritage is connected to the Watchers from the What If series, because in the first episode when she first puts it on, she goes in a different realm and there's just people with glowing eyes and like the same kind of cape.
I was hoping that maybe they were connected to the Eternals. I was like, I need some sort of connection.
I know, so
besides
by the Eternals-
Thor showing like the Eternal like and the God realm. You just see like, oh, there it is. Like,
They
Yeah.
did mention the Eternals, the Bollywood actor.
Yes, they did.
That was a kind of fun throw.
that's
That
that's
probably nobody picked up on.
true. I didn't pick up on it. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, he prefers the
Every once
dad.
with the Eternals, like, can we please address the giant like monster robot that was coming out of Earth and no
Right?
one? And where were the Avengers? Like, nah, somebody else will get that one. Like, no one.
That's
would
a big
address
fault
that one.
in the Avengers world when, like, there's, like, when you're watching a separate Avenger movie, it's like, world ending, you're like, where's everyone? Like, when you think someone, like, comes in.
Yeah, like New Asgard, where they're just all like, "No, it's too far. We won't get there in time."
I wonder if they're like, do you need help? No? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, man, I got this one.
I bet the Eternals, they can handle this one.
Right.
I think that's what everybody says about.
Yeah.
Please incorporate this a little bit better.
Yes. So then let's talk.
She puts
about,
on the bracelet.
She
She's
puts
all
on-
powerful now.
She's powerful. You get a few episodes where she's learning how to control her powers.
You get that typical story arc with
Yeah.
learning how to use your powers ability and being called different weird names because people
Oh,
know what to call you.
Nightlight.
Nightlight.
Nightlight. Yeah.
And, you know, it's Nightlight.
Or what was it? In Spider-Man, Monkey.
Night Monkey.
Night
Night
Monkey.
But we're going to talk about the saving, her second save,
Yeah, we could talk about that.
where they're at the celebration.
Yeah.
I forgot the name of the holiday that they were celebrating. It just was celebrated recently.
Yeah.
And you know, she's talking to him like, you know, like what's your favorite, you know, food? And he's all like, And as he's falling, it's so like, I like ice cream pizza. And that just totally takes you like, what?
Right.
And everyone's like, what's ice cream pizza? And they explain, like, it's something weird with the flavor touching the ice cream, and it's just great. And I'm like, I really hope that doesn't become a thing at
it will.
Disneyland.
It will.
Yeah.
That and
What ice
pizza
cream?
balls.
Pizza balls, so
Oh,
for
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Pizza balls and pizza ice cream. There's going to be a whole pizza shop.
Did you know the kid that she saved was the kid that stole her friend's shoes?
Yes,
No way.
that
Yeah.
was revealed like
It
on
was
the last
revealed.
episode when they're doing like all the mini YouTube clips.
Yeah.
He's all like, "I've got the shoes." Yeah,
Yeah. Just kind of a fun like
He's a weird
throwback.
kid.
Yeah. I liked so part of her training she needs to go back home to see her grandma
In Karachi.
in Karachi, yes. And
well, I want to talk about.
Oh, well, we had the wedding. Like the whole wedding
Oh,
scene.
yeah.
I want to. Like you got the wedding and the whole clandestine's plan, and how
I'm your friend. No one's your friend at first when you got
Yeah.
superpowers, all right?
how impatient they were.
Oh,
They've been
so
waiting.
impatient.
They waited so many years, and it's like, oh, this teenager has the ability to get us home. Come help us. Can we wait a little bit? No, we will kill you now. It's
It's like, oh, can we wait
All
till
right.
after my brother's wedding?
We only have 3 more episodes. We cannot do this any longer.
right. I was like, okay, if we were waited maybe like a week or a month, like she might be more open to helping you out if you're friendly with her. But it's all like, no, we gotta go now or kill her. And it's like, okay, calm down there.
You also get, the crush,
With
Kamran.
Kamran. Yeah.
which, he has, like, good intentions. Especially, like, how...
Well, again, like he's coming up from the perspective of like, oh, she's gonna help us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when the plan turns the other way, he's all like, Dad.
That wasn't a part of the
That's
plan.
not what I was brought up on.
Right.
Well, this is what it really is. This isn't no Disney, story right here where there's a happy ending. Like,
Right.
people are dying, like, yeah, so it's... Yeah, his shock and the whole thing was... it was good for the twist of the whole show.
Yes.
There was a big, like, fight scene at the wedding. It was
Well,
a bit...
I would say before the wedding, we got the whole Bollywood dance scene. That was cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
That was
yeah.
I was only I say recently, but it's not recent anymore. But my time down in Africa, I saw a lot of Bollywood stuff, and like, I really got into that because like it brings about Bollywood is. You almost get like that old school Hollywood where like it's all with the musicals and things like that, and it's very enjoyable. And like I loved their whole dance sequence. Like it was fun. I was getting into that. It was very well choreographed and very and it didn't seem like
Force.
overly forced in the sense
It looked
of
like it could naturally happen the
right.
way it is happening.
It felt natural for the most part. Where there's some part, sure.
When
Some of the
everyone is doing the same thing.
the background people kind of like okay, but like with the main characters doing it, like it did feel more natural, and then so that was kind of really cool to see that.
Yeah.
So, sorry,
No,
we
you're
can
good.
move on.
She also finds out about like the Shadow Walkers and the Jinn.
Right.
And
The
she
Jinn,
that kind of
which-
like sets the story.
To her, the Jinn growing up were like, she was afraid of the Jinn.
Yeah, they're the bad guys.
They were the bad guys. And
That happens in all cultures. Shadow Walkers.
Yeah.
You have Norse mythology, Native American. It's just like the shadow. Like it's across, cultures. Like what lurks in the darkness.
And she had the fear of like, oh, I'm a shadow walker. Like, I'm my biggest fear.
Yeah.
And there's that fear of like trying to figure out who she is and
Her role.
her role and why she has these abilities and such.
But because she's a Captain Marvel fan, she
knows what
She
she,
knows
has
what's-
to do.
Yeah.
Right, to be good.
You've got the big fight scene. So when the crew? Are the clandestines?
It's just called the clandestines.
Yeah, they come. They crash the wedding, It's a fun, like, fight scene. Aren't they, like, fighting to, like, Bon Jovi or something?
Yes,
Yes.
The fake Bon Jovi.
Yes.
Band,
Yeah, they're really like he's hitting upon like Marvel and like 80s
Yeah.
music. We just had like Welcome to the Jungle with Thor and you
Yeah.
know like
Yeah.
Guns N' Roses, you know, being
Yep.
played. So
Which was, it was just, like, a fun, like, fight scene, but not, like, I don't know.
I kept thinking of the raptor scene in the kitchen, like the hunting.
yeah.
I just wanted like one window and like one of the clandestines going up to it, breathing really heavy, and just like the, you know, and then
Right.
play with the handle just to mess with her.
I like in the kitchen where you have like the kitchen staff and like one of like the bad guys like hit a random kitchen staff and she's like, I'm out.
Everyone's thinking it's like, nope.
Like,
Nope.
I'm not dealing with
And I
this.
get it. Like and it shows like you're a teenager, no one takes you serious. Like everyone needs to get out. You're in danger. And it's like, yeah, right.
And then something happens like, all right,
I'm out. I've been around New York too much.
this is Jersey.
Oh, yeah, but,
This is
but
Jersey.
they can see New York. Um,
And then like it's kind of interesting because like after the fight, then they're like talks to the grandma and boom, they're in Karachi. Like,
yeah, basically.
there's a lot going on. It moves quickly, like
Yeah.
with the show.
They kind of jump around. They
I
jump
bet
in
you.
the
You're
timeline.
grounded. We're going to Karachi. It's
Yeah.
It's
like,
like,
oh, okay. You need to speak to your grandma.
yeah.
They
Well,
go-
that was cool that the grandma, she had the same vision of the train.
Yes.
That's why she called us. Oh, you need to come. You had the vision.
Yeah, that was good.
There's a connection through the Bengal through that.
That's when you start learning about. Episode 4 was like the learning of like what's going on. What's
Yes,
kind of
more
the truth
the
of what's going on.
backstory and yes.
And it was great to see the culture of Pakistan.
Yes.
They really made it look
That-
beautiful.
He
Yeah.
did. Like,
Not that I'm just saying it wasn't beautiful. I'm just saying like I was enticed by what I was watching. I was like, this is beautiful. It's great.
Mhm.
And
I think that's one of the things that this show really did a good job is showing a different culture.
Yeah.
agree.
Like, we don't see this culture promoted on.
Real Housewives. You haven't watched Real Housewives of Islam?
Now watch that
It's
one.
not real. I'm
seen
thinking.
that one.
I mean, it could be real. Bravo, are you listening?
But like it was just really cool to
Yes.
see different cultures that normally don't get represented in media in
Right.
a positive light.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the show, that was kind of the center theme, is that like, because for the last, I would say
20 years.
20, 30 years, there's been a lot of, tension
There's
with,
negative constructs.
Yes.
Right. And so I think this helped clear up some of that, like,
It humanizes them.
Yes.
You know, we always like it's easy when like they're the enemy, and then
Right.
like you actually talk to them, and you're like, oh, they're
They're-
like me.
Yeah,
they're cool.
They're just different in this one
Yeah.
aspect.
right.
And so this really nails the we are humanizing. Like I notice when I'm like getting riled up about this person, and then I'm like, do I really know this person? And it's all like, I bet you if I hung out with them,
You'd be
I would really
fine.
see them
Yeah.
as the human they are, and that I should, love them like I've been taught to.
Right.
Yeah. You also get introduced to
Red Daggers.
Red Dagger, which I don't know. He has such like a small blip in the series.
Yeah,
but
he's not very memorable.
I feel like he's just a bigger role play in the future.
Maybe.
Maybe we'll see. I mean, I take him as like maybe he'll show up in another
He's
standalone Miss Marvel project, but like I don't see him showing up in like an Avengers.
Like a Young Avengers.
No.
No. Okay.
Mm-mm.
No.
Like you'll see Kamran.
Yeah.
Like I think you'll see him come on as like an anti-hero.
I think he's a villain.
I wouldn't say villain. I would say like an anti-hero.
Yeah.
Like he'll come because he's got powers.
Yeah,
and a
he
person
does.
with powers tends to get attention. So like I think he'll make an appearance again, but I don't think the Red Daggers. I would be surprised to see the Red Daggers show up in a product outside of Miss Marvel.
I associate them to like Indiana Jones, where they were like the protectors of the cup.
Right.
And you're like, you served your purpose for this. You did your mission. You know.
Right.
And they'll continue their mission, but it's one of those things like they were a good vehicle for this. You know, like she called them when she needed help, and it worked.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay, so let's go to the episode where we kind of go back in time.
Episode 5.
Yeah, where you get introduced to
Aisha.
Yeah.
Great grandma.
And like how she came to basically have a family and
Well, we get a continuation because like this connects to that backstory we get to when they first find the bangle,
Yes.
and then it's like what happens right after that. So we get the continuation of that storyline. Because like if you don't realize that connected, her running away makes no sense. Like, what's she running away from?
Yeah.
If you connect it to that initial flashback to the bangle, then it's like, oh, okay, it's connected to that. So it's a continuation of that story.
And I think she's given more time with the bangle and she's able to understand the bangle
And she falls in love.
and she falls
Oh
in love.
yeah, like it was a good Hassan.
Yeah.
It was a very sweet kind
It's
of
a
like interaction
sort-
and love
like,
story.
Sweet love story, yeah.
People always have these grand ideas of how people fall in love, but this one actually shows you like, oh, let me just be sweet or nice to you in this moment,
Yeah.
and like you could develop a love, from that.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that series, like that part of the episode. I didn't want it to end. Of course, they get to the scene.
You wanted more.
I wanted more of that, that back part, but of course, it leads you to the train station scene, which
During the partition,
which
the last train out of Karachi.
last train out of Karachi, and it shows that Kamala is basically the
Or is it to Karachi? It's not from Karachi. It's last train to Karachi.
To Karachi.
Yes.
Because they're in India and they have to go to the new Pakistan.
Yeah.
and it shows that Kamala is the one that creates the stars to
For her grandmother.
her grandmother to go back to her father.
Because they got separated.
Yeah.
A nice one of those, like, what came first, the chicken or the egg scenarios.
Mm.
Did she created the event that brought them together, and it's time
It's
travel.
a fun little like time warp kind of like
Yeah.
situation. I don't get too caught up on those
No,
time travels. Like,
just-
I'm like,
just
just take it for
accept
what
it.
it is.
Just accept it.
It's like technically, and it's like, no, let's not play that game. Let's just enjoy the story and move on.
Now let's go into Najma and her crew, basically, and they're touching the light or the
Portal?
The
The
portal.
portal.
The fissure. Because the knife hit the dagger or hit the bracelet. And
Yes.
it created that fissure.
and how they were crumbling. Do you think they're dead?
Yes.
Yeah.
But you saw their skeletons.
I saw the skeleton.
And
They're pretty much
and then
gone.
They turned to dust,
Yeah.
but you got to see the transfer of power
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
from the mother
From
to
the-
the son.
So it shows you that genetic component.
Right.
Of like how it can. It I guess it has to stay within the bloodline for the power.
Yeah, and that's how Kamran gets
Powers.
which is similar to
Kamala's.
A lot of K names
yeah,
here,
there's
right?
a lot of
Kamala, Kamran,
yeah.
Karachi.
But it seems like Kamran's powers are triggered more with anger.
It's not stable, like
Yes.
because like
It's emotion.
Kamala's is centered through her bangle.
like
Yes.
focus,
it's
like
focused
energy.
through that kind of like Thor's hammer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's somebody explained it. It says her bangle is like Thor's hammer. Thor isn't the god of hammers. He's the god of thunder. He can summon thunder without the hammer, but the hammer is as
It's
a conduit.
Yeah.
And that's what the bangle is for Kamala. Like, she's always had this ability. It's just the bangle kind of released it,
It let her know, like, hey, you could do this.
which they kind of Well, we might talk about
We'll
that
get
at the
into
end.
that a little
there.
bit later.
Yes.
Yeah. And so then we get to they're back in America, basically. Let's get to the final fight scene. Does that sound good?
The Home Alone fight scene.
Oh gosh, I
Home
kept thinking
Alone.
about that
or
too.
Hook.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I thought
Uh-huh.
it was fun. It showed like how creative Kamala was.
It had a kid point of view. It wasn't like, let's get guns and fight guns with guns, and I'll just
It
like
wasn't
destroy them with
Stranger
hammers
Things.
with my fists. It's just
Right.
like it was misdirection tactic.
It
Right.
was. I thought it was a super fun scene.
It was silly. It was goofy. It was enjoyable.
for
It
kids.
was like
good.
fighting these like whatever the agency is, the FBI or
The damage control.
damage control. Yes. Where man, I would hate their job just like dealing with like
You have to deal with
different
superpowers,
and you're like, geez, I gotta deal with
How
this
do I
one.
work? Yeah, I was like, what's their power
and they
again?
had to deal with you had the one person she's all like, I'm just gonna get the job done. The other guy's all like,
No.
no, this is gonna look bad for all of us if you
There's
go in.
optics.
There's optics. Like you're gonna ruin everything if you go in and start shooting up school children at their school.
Yeah, it's gonna look bad.
Shooter! Yeah,
I know.
it's like, oh gosh.
Right. So it was really bad looking for them. Like they're supposed to be this agency meant for good, but they do not come off very good.
Yeah.
They had like these non-lethal weapons as they went in, but when they're outside, they're like, "No, it's free game."
They've got shields. We can use real bullets.
Yeah, right. And yeah, it's episode 6 did take me out with this whole like Home Alone, but I was like, okay, this is not for me.
Yeah.
Again, I had to like bring it back. Like this would have been better for 25-year-old me. The 12-year-old or 13 would appreciate this better.
Every series or show needs an intro for the younger audience, and I
Yeah.
think this is a great intro
Yes.
for a lot of younger people to start getting into the MCU.
Because we can't like help think, but like first Iron Man came out, and a lot of the fans right now we're in school.
Yeah.
You know, I was
Yeah.
out of school, but I was in school when Spider-Man
Right.
came out.
The Tobey Maguire Spider-Man.
That's the only Spider-Man. My Spider-Man.
I like Andrew Garfield personally.
He's good.
Yeah.
I mean,
I like
I don't take it
Garfield.
away, but it was just like, well, if we had to pick sides, you know, that's how it goes. But yeah, I think that's the biggest thing I'm getting from this fourth phase, this post, like Thanos is, you brought in Spider-Man and it kind of got the ball rolling for the teenage experience of
Which I'm kind of
Marvel.
excited for. I'm excited to see like the next generation of superheroes starting to take over. So,
Yes.
like I'll be excited to see Kamala and what's her name from Hawkeye,
Kate Bishop.
Kate Bishop. You know, I don't know if Peter Parker is going to be hanging around very much. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know where his story is gonna be.
Licensing.
I was like, licensing's
Yeah.
a huge aspect
Yes.
of Spider-Man. Just the
but
promise of like, we'll make you millions.
you got Scott Lang's daughter.
Yeah.
Hope. No, Hope is his girlfriend. Hope is Wasp, but his daughter, Cassie. That's it.
That's
Cassie,
it.
yes.
Good job.
She's gonna be a character that we'll get in the next movie. Yeah, like seeing the younger people and having
You
their
have
own
hope
little-
for it all coming together.
right.
Because, like, as an adult, I'm watching, I was like, I'm still, like, grieving previous, like, ending of the Infinity Wars. And then it's like, all right, what are you going to do now? Because I'm like that guy with the arm shoulders, like, prove it to me. Like,
Right.
this is worth, like, continuing on.
Yeah, but yeah, I have high hopes here.
Yeah, so we get in the end fight scene, the school scene, you get, like, the big guns taken out in front of the school, which is actually causing harm. There's a big crowd of people.
She unlocks next level.
Yes.
Yes.
She creates a little shield.
She grows. Yeah,
Well, that was her initial.
That's her initial
superpower
her
in the comics.
real
is that
powers.
she can stretch, kind of like Mr. Incredible, but
Yeah. There's a lot of connections between her and Ant-Man, so I think there will be a movie or some sort of interaction between those two
how fun.
in the future, I believe. And then, of course, the people in the city, her fans, save their lives, basically.
It was a touching moment. Their
Yeah.
community, and especially within
And I
there
like-
is that community aspect, like that close
Yeah.
niche.
And it's just like, I like how they're like, no, we don't, these are good people. Like, we don't trust, like, the big, like, superhero, like, I don't know. What's the protector? The FBI or the
government
damage
agency.
control,
damage
Oh yeah, well,
control.
why would they? You
Yeah.
know, like they really like made the U.S. government look bad. Like,
Yes,
the
they
FBI
did.
is already watching them, and it's just like, oh gosh, like
Yeah.
I mean, it's known, but like, let's really hit upon the
Yeah.
the U.S. government's bad, and it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's true.
Well, and I mean, in like the recent like Captain America series, what is it?
With Captain 2.0 that
Yeah.
went to like.
It shows like the government was not like fully secure as far as there were problems in
well,
the
again,
government.
you're dealing with,
life after the blip.
life after the blip, and
It's chaotic.
it's
Yeah.
you had that chaos of like all the world governments fall apart, and then everyone comes back and it's like everything's normal. And it's like, no, it's not.
No.
Yeah.
There was so much that happened while you were gone.
Imagine you
for
come
5
back
years.
from the blip and someone's living in your house. You're like, what the heck? You're like, well, I own this house. Well, I own this house. Well, you like this, and you're like,
You haven't paid rent in 5 years. Dang it.
But yeah, I think it kind of shows like the battle between like the people and the community against like the government or those that are trying to protect or to save.
And I think the next Captain America movie, which they just announced, I think it's called New World Order, will probably address a lot of those things. Because that tends to be the theme for any Captain America movie, to be dealing with governments and politics
I mean,
and
it's
things
Yeah.
like that.
the start of it all for Captain America. You know,
Yes.
he's at that kind of level. He's not in the let's go in the mysteries of the universe.
Like, let's go fight the giant space monster. That's not Captain America's story arc.
No,
Yeah.
it's not.
Yeah. And then, of course, you get to the end and we find what's the big reveal.
Mutants.
Mutants.
Oh, yeah,
The-
that's right. He mentions that.
And
He
they
goes-
play a hint of the '90s X-Men
What?
theme.
I
Yeah.
missed that.
Oh yeah. As
So-
soon as he said there's a mutation, and then
So there's
they
a
played the little
reason
theme.
why the Bengal worked for her is because there's a mutation in her.
because it probably didn't work for her grandmother,
Yeah.
but her grandmother obviously knew about the Bengal,
Yeah.
but it didn't work for her because of the genetics from her father.
I was just hoping the dad was like he had a recessive gene of like having some in there where like,
Could be.
But I did enjoy the origin of her name.
It was
Miss
beautiful.
Marvel. Like
Yeah.
that was a very beautiful scene with her father
Oh, that
talking
was.
about how like Kamala literally means Marvel.
because they
Yeah.
mentioned that when they were in Pakistan, where the lady's like, "That's not a traditional like Islamic name,"
Right.
And the mom's like, "Yeah, well, we're different, in our own way."
I liked the scene where, like, after she has that, like, heartfelt with her father, and she, runs off in the sky with her powers, and the dad goes, magic.
Yeah, I was like, "That's fun."
It just shows, like, I don't know. It's just cool, like, to see. It's a different take of, like, seeing just a supportive family for
Such a-
her.
I love
So
that.
good.
I love that scene where she comes open to the rest of her family. Then, no, you are. You told them, didn't you? Yeah, I told them.
It just shows you the dynamic of the family. Like, there's ears everywhere.
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
is your business is everyone else's business.
It's just nice that like it's a family affair. It's no one trying to hide it from each other or.
Yeah, that's true. It is. It's got that Iron Man feel where it's
Yeah.
all like, I'm Iron Man. You know, like everyone knows who it is.
Right,
Yeah.
but
But yet she still wears a mask.
Because it's cool.
I think
It's a superhero. It's a style.
It is.
But then we get into the end credit scene, right? We're at that point, right?
Yeah.
The end credit scene where she's just going about her thing, and then her bangle starts glowing,
Yeah.
and then she disappears.
Yeah.
And
What? I did not see that. Oh, my
Oh.
goodness, I totally missed it.
you missed the end credit scene.
I
Yeah.
did.
Oh.
Okay,
Child
well,
was
here's a
probably-
spoiler for you.
That's fine. Whoa, like, please,
So-
walk me through it.
So yeah, she's in her room. She has her costume on, and then her bangle glows, and like she trips into her closet and disappears. And who should appear but Captain Marvel?
appears.
I knew she was gonna show up. This is ridiculous.
She showed up in the
Ah.
end credit scene
And then it
Oh.
shows that Miss Marvel will return in Captain.
in the Marvels. I think
yeah.
that's what the movie's
The
called. is it? The
Marvels.
Marvels.
Yeah.
So
And
Brie
so
Larson
do you
shows up.
think like they switched places?
Yes. I mean, that's kind of what they're making people assume happened is that they swap places.
So they're connected.
So you think Miss Marvel's up there with what's his face up on
She's anywhere. So, with Nick Fury,
Nick Fury, yeah.
could be,
Ooh.
could be. Yeah, I mean, up in that space station.
Yeah.
I mean, it looked like Captain Marvel was in some sort of battle situation when she got
Oh
transported.
my gosh, I missed so much.
She looked a little beat up.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that much. She looked.
So
a
we're
little
gonna send
beat
in
up.
a newbie. She'll be like, "What is going on here?"
Well,
Nick Fury's got his gun.
Yeah.
Captain Marvel, she looked really confused. She's like, "Where am I?" And then she sees like pictures of her all over her room. And she's like,
I'm on Earth.
"Oh no!
Yeah.
Like what just happened?"
So
That's
it'd be
good. She needs to be
interesting.
nerfed a little bit, like thrown out of her element.
Yeah.
Oh, how fun.
Series, okay, let's give him Mickey bars.
Can I give like one
Oh
quote that I
yeah,
really
go
liked?
for it.
I loved like the imam, the leader of the
Mhm.
mosque, and I loved how he goes when they're dealing with like they know they're about to face the bad guy. He goes, just because they treat you as an enemy doesn't mean you need to treat them as one.
Right.
I was like, boom,
That's
that
it.
was
Yeah.
powerful.
Like he was a great character.
Oh,
Yeah, he
yeah.
quoted
Loved
like
him.
the Abraham Lincoln quote.
Right. And it's like, oh,
I don't have time for this Muslim
It's
Quran.
like it's Abraham Lincoln. Oh, and then you feel dumb.
She had the eye roll like, I'm
Yeah.
a dumb, government worker. I say
Yeah.
this, I am a government worker, and I cannot claim my own intelligence. So I wanted to throw that quote out there. I loved
Yeah,
it.
that's a
It
good
stuck out, and I was
quote.
like, pause, write this down.
Yeah, I'm glad you did. That was a good quote. All right, let's rate it. Peter, why don't you go first?
I'm going 5.
5 Mickey
It
bars.
was 5. Like, yeah, it had some issues, but you know what? I've learned as a fan of things to let certain things go. And this is something that's very rewatchable for me. It was enjoyable. It was a fun journey, and I learned a lot. So
So it's the best of the series that you've watched so far.
from my current mindset, yes. It's been a while since I watched some of the other ones that's older, but as of right now, I really enjoyed this series.
Okay. I'm going to go with 4. I'm on this, getting burned out with superhero storylines.
And I kind of agree, and I think this was a breath of fresh air.
It does re-energize, and I put it as 4 Mickey bars, just because it's I saw the parallels with Spider-Man, and again, I am kind of I'm on that burned out track. Like I saw Thor and I was like, well, we've seen this story, and what I'm missing is Loki's banter from this, and that's
Yeah.
what.
Thor really didn't do it.
Are we
for
doing
me.
an episode on Thor?
No,
Okay.
but
We haven't been doing.
we could talk about it. So I'll just rate my.
What's yours?
4.
4?
I give it a 4. It's okay. Like it's good. Like Peter said, there's some holes. It's not enough for a 5, but
The Home Alone did take me out of the last episode. Was all like, we're doing
I think it's
good.
really good. I do want to see a season 2.
Yeah, I would not. I'm fine with the season 2. They left enough out there
Yeah.
to crave more.
I do want to see more of this character. I am intrigued.
Best character, like casting.
Oh, absolutely.
Nailed it. I thought I was very happy with all the
Yes.
characters.
Even the way she looked, like she literally looks like the comic book character
Yeah.
from the comics.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
great.
like she looks spot on.
Yeah, and I think this was her first acting role.
I have no idea.
I don't know. She acted like
She gave it her all. You could tell.
she
like,
was good.
Yeah.
I
She was
didn't feel like, oh, is this your first time? Didn't think that.
Like,
I felt
honestly,
I'm sure
like-
she's done other parts because she was so natural.
Yeah.
Yeah, like she has a bright future if this was her first gig.
I believe, but I could be very wrong. So
I'm fine with her performance.
Yeah, it was-
Whether if it's her first or if it's her, 20th. I think
she did
good.
great.
yeah. Let's just do a very quick Mickey Bar review for Thor.
It was a 2.5.
I'm in that 2.5 to 3 range.
Same.
High expectations for me, but
I actually
just
had very low
lacking.
expectations.
I love
you did
too.
coming into I just you love Thor, and I like how they end it where they're kind of like, okay, bringing in kid,
right.
Kid Marvel,
Yeah.
like another kid into the story world of Marvel. But yeah, it was just
It's more
they've
like-
nerfed like Thor's intelligence,
Right.
or you've gone to
He's
the
not
Eric
as-
Matthews where it's all like.
Yes.
Did he stay in the dryer too long where his
Yeah.
brain's kind of fried? It's just...
Yeah.
How hard did Thanos hit him? You know?
Yeah.
No, I agree. That Thor got dumb. The jokes were just like constant. It was
Yes.
just,
It's very
that's,
jokey.
and that's Taika Waititi for you.
Yeah.
That's his humor. That's
That's
all
his
over
style.
it. Like it was fun during Ragnarok, but I think they took it to a whole new level that I was just like, okay, this is too much.
Did Natalie Portman's love story kill the movie again? That's always it's like, can't have Natalie Portman, she'll
Their
kill
love
it.
story was almost
It
non-existent.
was like meh. It was awkward.
Like there was more of a love
So
story.
did Natalie Portman's love
There was
story, relationship killing? Because that's always things like, she has not, like people have this thing like, she cannot convince the audience that she's actually in love with someone.
Right, like there was
I love you,
more-
Natalie. I'm telling you, I love you. You were my crush growing up,
You
but
were.
I'm like, I just can't. I'm like, there's part of me when I watch movies and I'm like, are you in love with a person, or am I so in love with you I don't believe that you love me? You love me.
Yeah, I felt like there was more of a romantic love story with Thor and Mjolnir,
Yeah.
than it
Yeah.
was Natalie Portman's character.
Yes.
It was just like, okay.
I think I'm done with the character Thor.
You want him to pop in, throw his little comedy, but his own story. You're done.
I'm done with. I'm never a huge Thor fan to begin with, and just this movie, I'm like,
Oh, you like bleached eyebrow Thor,
Bleached
don't
eyebrow. Yeah.
it just I
did enjoy the villain though. Villain was good.
Oh, the
Christian Bale
villain
was
was
great.
awesome.
Christian Bale did great as Gore
And
the God
the
Butcher,
the whole Shadow World scene, like that was
where everything
cool.
was black and white.
That was
kinda
really cool. There were definitely cool parts in it, but the overall story, I'm just like,
Me,
Do you like the kids
Meh.
fighting?
yeah.
It was a funny moment
it was with the
with the bunny.
bunny. Yeah, again, that's one of those like it kind of took me out, but it was entertaining to watch, and like yes, it's one of those movies. It's a fun ride.
Yeah.
Are you gonna get substance from this?
No.
You're not getting substance from this.
So
It's like riding a roller coaster.
Yes,
But not a Disney roller coaster. At least you get a story with it. This one,
Right.
you're just like,
I did
I've
like
seen this.
I did like the whole part where like the town's all freaking out and the actors come. We should do a play about this. Like that was kind of funny.
Matt Damon.
Matt Damon's part. He's made that part like an integral part of the MCU. Now, oh, did you see? Is his name Daryl from Team Thor? Did you guys ever watch the Team Thor shorts?
Oh yeah.
So his roommate's in the movie.
Oh no way.
Yeah, he's like a tour guide, and he was all talking about the hammer, broken pieces. Or
That's
whatever.
him.
That's him.
Oh, that's the thing is like I want to watch the movie again. Just I missed some parts in it. So.
Well, it'll be in Disney Plus, and I don't know. Probably by the time this episode comes
Golly,
out.
though, how quickly they put things like Buzz Lightyear's out. And I was like, boy, I just need.
Well, I don't.
Here we go.
I don't blame him. That one's not doing so well.
I
and I don't
enjoyed
blame them.
that
I don't
one,
blame them
but-
for that, but
Well, let's wrap it up. Comment on your thoughts on the show Miss Marvel. And if you've seen Thor,
yeah, we got a little postscript to like
Yeah.
review with that.
let us know your thoughts too. Did you like it? A lot of people loved it.
Love them, Miss Marvel.
No,
Okay.
Thor.
Thor.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's a funny movie. It's
Yeah.
enjoyable to watch. Like you're gonna sit there and you're gonna laugh.
Right.
Or is it substance? No.
No.
As
It's
I
not
said, this
substance.
confirmed like, okay, I am really like the last Spider-Man movie was really great and everyone liked it. I was like, oh, I think I'm getting kind of burned out in superheroes. And then Thor pretty much like nailed it where I'm like, yeah, this story I really want overarching
Right.
like big picture
But-
than individual like superhero storyline like
But
this.
the Wakanda trailer came out, the Wakanda Forever, Black Panther. That looked pretty good.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it and I'm gonna wait.
No, and you
I
probably
think in this
should.
one I really want to wait on
You
this
probably should.
because I really enjoyed the
That
first
one. That
Yeah.
one. I am actually looking forward for that one. That one.
How are they going to do it? That's the
Right.
big mystery. How are you going to write the story?
Because like they already said that they're not recasting.
Right.
So it's going to somebody else. So
They're moving the story along.
right. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah,
what
the
direction they take.
Marvel future is going to be interesting. How they move parts.
I'm
and
excited
different
from
things.
their recent announcements
Yeah.
from San Diego Comic-Con, and I'm sure they're going to make at least 3 or 4 more announcements at D23 in the coming month. So
You could definitely tell Disney's really pushing Marvel because that's the
That's
thing-
their moneymaker.
That's making
It's
money
the only
right
thing,
now.
like, it's what's going to make money in the movie theater, and that's really
Yes.
what's going to bring people back into the habit of going to the movies.
the big blockbusters. Yep.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean that. We had Top Gun.
Oh, so good.
It was a good movie.
Yeah.
So
But okay, so follow us on our Facebook, our Instagram, our Twitter. You can listen to on all audio podcast platforms most likely.
tell your friends.
Yeah.
Podcasts live and die by word of mouth. So let
It
your
really
friends know.
does.
Yep. That's the only way podcasts really survive. So tell your friends, even if they're very casual, they're like, hey, I really went to Disneyland. It was a lot of fun.
Well,
you
we
should
haven't
listen.
made the top 100 on Apple's podcast
gosh.
yet.
No, not yet. Not yet.
No. But that's all the time we have. Have a magical day.
Thank you for joining us on this week's episode of the Matterhorn Yodelers. Please remember before your bobsled comes to a complete stop to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And remember,
Remain seated, please. Permanecer sentados, por favor.